Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Obscurarium. Zombies are a prominent and versatile staple of pop culture. They can serve as window dressing for an otherwise pretty normal storyline, create additional conflict, or present the protagonist with hard ethical dilemmas. On the other hand, they can also just serve as enemy cannon fodder you can gun down without remorse and look badass in the process. Over time, the archetype of the zombie has become pretty specific. They are mindless undead monsters without consciousness or remorse. They hunger only for one thing, human flesh, forgetting their entire life as humans. Often zombieism is caused by some sort of disease, in which case you can expect any attacked humans to join the faceless hordes in no time. Zombies in fiction are often extremely hard to kill, surviving even deep wounds and dismemberment. Sometimes infected zombies can also be cured by either breaking the spell that entrapped them, or finding a drug that will cure them. But where does this whole idea of zombies originally come from? The myth of the zombie has two distinct origins. One is an ancient idea from European folklore and esoteric circles. A widely held belief was that practitioners of dark magic were able to raise people from the dead. These necromancers could communicate with departed souls, receiving forbidden knowledge from them, and sometimes even being able to put dead souls at their service. Being able to bring dead bodies back to life and enlist them to their service. The other source for the zombie myth is something entirely real and physical, the rabies virus. This virus has a truly grisly, yet also fascinating ability. It causes infected animals to become unusually aggressive, causing it to bite and claw at anything that comes too near, thereby spreading the disease to other animals with their infectious saliva. Rabies-infected animals often display blood-red eyes, are foaming in the mouth, and behave as if they had gone mad. It is very easy to see the parallels to zombie infections and how rabies seems to have been the inspiration for them. In fact, zombies seem to be infected by some sort of super rabies, and something like this could possibly exist in real life. But if it did, what would real zombies actually be like? In many movies, zombies are created in some sort of failed Frankenstein experiment, often to cure death or create super soldiers, or some other example of human hubris. However, this seems highly unlikely. The adaptations necessary to manipulate the human brain to such an extent are way too complex to come about by random chance. The actual rabies virus has evolved for millions of years alongside the mammals it infects, to be able to twist their behavior to its need. Besides, it seems really weird that the virus just so happens to develop a trait that is so clearly an adaptation to spreading itself, even though there is absolutely no need for it in a laboratory setting. In some other stories, the zombies are created intentionally as biological weapons. To me, this still seems unlikely. You would need an almost complete understanding of the human brain to create something that was capable of manipulating the brain so precisely. Also, to me personally, an uncontrollable zombie plague seems like the most useless weapon I could ever think of. So in reality, a zombie plague would have to be something that evolved alongside humans, and that has evolved to hijack our brains for its own purposes. These real zombies would not be undead or rotting alive, they would merely be humans with an infectious disease. They also wouldn't forget all of their human life and personality. After all, the virus needs to infect more people, and it would be quite the disadvantage if zombies were so easily identifiable. The zombies also wouldn't suddenly lose all of their faculties and become drooling morons. After all, that would also make it harder for them to spread the plague. In my opinion, the most realistic zombie plague would be one that doesn't destroy your ego, but simply overrides all of your natural passions with the supreme desire. to infect healthy people. This would also allow for a very compelling yet disturbing storyline. Imagine fully conscious zombies who, in one moment, will plead for their life with all their heart and soul, yet in the next moment will try to bite you as soon as you turn your back to them, basically retaining their humanity and all their memory, except that they now have an insatiable lust for biting healthy humans. I was imagining them acting sort of like addicts. In my opinion, this would be a much more viscerally disturbing depiction of a zombie than the garden variety drooling monster kind. Another staple of zombie media are their superhuman abilities. In many fictional titles, zombies will survive even deep-cut wounds and dismemberment. They need no food or water. They can run for miles without rest. This has led to the pretty humorous suggestion that you could create an infinite energy supply by simply taking a zombie and putting it on a treadmill. In reality, this would of course be hardly possible. After all, if there was a simple tweak to human biology that would enable us to have superhuman powers and require hardly any food, then why on earth haven't we already evolved that trait on our own? However, if a human was controlled by a virus, that would remove some limitations. For instance, people will often black out after a serious injury or want to rest and stop fighting, even though they would be physically able to. The reason for this is that when you just keep going on after an injury, you risk further damaging your body, and you will have trouble recovering. A virus, on the other hand, doesn't care if you die or not, as long as it is able to spread. So it could dampen the pain of infected zombies, and make them go to their pain limit and beyond. So in effect, you could get a zombie whose arm just got torn off, but who is still keeping going. Though he will bleed out eventually just as a healthy human would, if not faster. So to sum up, in a more realistic zombie movie, we would get a naturally evolved zombie plague that would cause its victim to remain fully conscious, smart and agile. They would have a dampened sense of pain and be willing to go to extreme lengths to spread the virus. In addition, anyone trying to fight off the zombies would be faced with the prospect of having to murder fully conscious human beings who retain full memory of their past selves. If you like this video, there are many more of this sort coming, so make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Also, any thumbs up or comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching.